On October 1, 2023, sirens blared across Israel as Iran launched a barrage of ballistic missiles. The attack marked a significant escalation in the long-standing conflict between the two nations, while Israeli defense systems intercepted many projectiles. Some caused damage and casualties. The immediate aftermath was filled with chaos and confusion. Emergency services scrambled to respond to the injured and secure damaged areas. Fear and uncertainty gripped the Israeli population. This attack came against a backdrop of rising tensions, fueled by years of proxy conflicts and political rhetoric. The missile launch represented a dangerous turning point, pushing the two countries closer to open warfare. Facing constant missile threats, Israel has invested heavily in sophisticated defense systems. The Iron Dome and Arrow 3 played crucial roles in mitigating the damage from the October 1st attack. Iron Dome intercepts short-range rockets and artillery shells using radar and sophisticated algorithms. The Arrow 3 system tackles ballistic missiles outside the Earth's atmosphere. Despite their effectiveness, the sheer volume of missiles overwhelmed some defenses. The attack highlighted the challenges of achieving complete protection. Even with cutting-edge technology, the threat of missile attacks remains a constant reality for Israel. The conflict between Iran and Israel extends far beyond their borders, entangled with regional actors and proxy conflicts. Groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen play significant roles. Hezbollah, armed and funded by Tehran, can launch attacks on Israel from southern Lebanon. The group's involvement in the Syrian civil war raises concerns about potential spillover. Meanwhile, the Houthis in Yemen pose another challenge with their missile and drone attacks against Saudi Arabia. These proxy groups add a dangerous dimension to the conflict. Their actions, aligned with Iran's interests, can escalate tensions and drag other regional players into the fray. This tangled web of alliances makes finding a peaceful resolution even more challenging. The constant threat of conflict takes a heavy toll on the economies and political landscapes of both Iran and Israel. Maintaining military readiness requires significant financial resources, diverting funds from crucial social programs. For Israel, the economic burden of defense is immense, straining areas like education, healthcare, and social welfare. Iran, facing crippling international sanctions, also feels the economic pressure of its military ambitions. Despite these challenges, Tehran continues to prioritize funding its military and regional allies. The constant shadow of conflict shapes political discourse, making compromise and diplomacy more difficult. The October 1st attack further entrenched these positions, hardening stances and reducing space for dialogue. The international community reacted to the October 1st missile attack with swift condemnation. Governments and international organizations denounced the attack, urging restraint and de-escalation. The United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting to address the situation. While Russia and China blocked a formal resolution condemning Iran, most member states expressed deep concern. The European Union and the United States condemned the attack, with President Biden reaffirming support for Israel's security. The attack further strained relations between Washington and Tehran, dimming hopes for a revival of the Iran nuclear deal. The lack of a unified response and complex regional dynamics make finding a diplomatic solution a formidable challenge. While the Iranian government hailed the October 1st missile attack as a victory, public opinion within Iran was divided. State-controlled media presented the attack as a legitimate response to Israeli aggression. Images of celebrating crowds and pronouncements of victory dominated the airwaves. However, social media revealed a mix of reactions, from support and pride to fear and apprehension. Many Iranians, already struggling with economic hardship, expressed concern about further isolation and instability. They feared the possibility of a wider conflict bringing untold suffering and destruction. Others questioned the wisdom of the attack, arguing it would only strengthen hardliners on both sides. The attack exposed deep fissures within Iranian society, highlighting complex views on foreign policy. For Israelis, the October 1st missile attack was a stark reminder of the ever-present threat of violence. The sound of explosions and the sight of missiles streaking across the sky brought fear and uncertainty to the forefront of their minds. It shattered any illusion of normalcy, forcing them to confront the possibility of full-blown war. Streets that were once bustling with life became eerily silent, as people sought refuge in the safest places they could find. Sirens, once a distant sound, became a chilling reality, sending people scrambling for shelter. The piercing wail of the sirens was a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present danger lurking just beyond the horizon. The psychological toll of living under constant threat is significant, creating a climate of anxiety and tension. The stress of not knowing when the next attack might come weighs heavily on the minds of the citizens, affecting their daily lives and mental well-being. Despite the challenges, Israelis have shown remarkable resilience. They continue to go about their daily routines, finding strength in their community and in each other. They have adapted to the realities of living in a conflict zone, developing coping mechanisms and support systems. Community meetings and support groups have become essential, providing a sense of solidarity and mutual aid. The October 1st attack, while unsettling, served as a reminder of their strength and determination. It highlighted their ability to come together in times of crisis, offering help and support to those in need. The constant need for vigilance and preparedness remains a part of daily life. Security forces and civilians alike stay alert, always ready to respond to the next threat, ensuring the safety and security of their communities. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, holds ultimate authority over the country's political and military affairs. His influence extends beyond mere governance, shaping the very fabric of Iranian society and its interactions on the global stage. His worldview, shaped by a deep distrust of the West, plays a crucial role in shaping Iran's foreign policy. This perspective has been a cornerstone of his leadership, influencing decisions that affect not only Iran but also the broader Middle East region. Khamenei has repeatedly called for the destruction of Israel, viewing it as a threat to the Islamic world. His speeches often emphasize this stance, rallying support from hardliners within Iran and creating a narrative of resistance against perceived enemies. His rhetoric has contributed to the climate of hostility between the two countries. The ongoing tension is not just political, but also deeply ideological, rooted in decades of conflict and mutual distrust. The October 1st missile attack, seen as a sign of Khamenei's approval, raised concerns about his willingness to escalate the conflict. This incident has been a focal point for international observers, highlighting the potential for further violence. Some analysts believe Khamenei may take risks to bolster his grip on power. His actions are often interpreted as moves to consolidate authority, especially in times of internal dissent or external pressure. The future of Iran's relations with Israel will be heavily influenced by Khamenei's decisions. Diplomatic efforts and military strategies on both sides are closely watched, as any shift in Khamenei's stance could have significant repercussions. His uncompromising stance suggests the path ahead will be fraught with challenges and uncertainties. The international community remains vigilant, aware that Khamenei's choices will shape not only Iran's future, but also the stability of the entire region. The October 1st missile attack presented Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu with a complex challenge, one that required immediate and decisive action. He faced the immediate imperative of ensuring the security of Israeli citizens while navigating the diplomatic fallout, a task that demanded both strategic military decisions and careful diplomatic maneuvers. Netanyahu, known for his hawkish stance towards Iran, responded with military preparedness and diplomatic outreach. His approach was multifaceted, involving not just military readiness, but also seeking support from international allies. He ordered the IDF to be on high alert and engaged in diplomatic activity to rally international condemnation. This dual approach aimed to show strength while also building a coalition of support against the aggressors. The attack put Netanyahu in a delicate position, balancing domestic demands for a strong response with the need to avoid a wider conflict. Public opinion was divided, with some calling for immediate retaliation and others urging caution. His challenge was to project strength without provoking uncontrollable escalation. This required careful consideration of both military tactics and diplomatic strategies to ensure that any response would not lead to further instability. Netanyahu's handling of the crisis will have significant implications for his political future and Israeli-Iranian relations. His decisions during this critical period could either bolster his position or lead to increased criticism. His ability to navigate these challenges will be closely scrutinized, both domestically and internationally. The world watches as Netanyahu maneuvers through this intricate web of security and diplomacy, with the outcomes likely to shape the region's future. The October 1st missile attack underscored the volatile nature of the Middle East. It highlighted the deep-seated animosity between Iran and Israel and the potential for minor incidents to spiral into major conflicts. Both sides remain locked in a dangerous cycle of action and reaction, fueled by mistrust and historical grievances. The risk of miscalculation leading to unintended escalation is a constant concern. The international community faces a daunting task in mediating between the parties to prevent further violence. Despite the challenges, the pursuit of peace must remain the ultimate goal. The alternative, a wider conflict with catastrophic consequences, is too horrifying to contemplate.